Hello and welcome to Judging by the Cover, where we'll be judging Spider-Man Homecoming. By the posters. Admittedly, you'd only know these are the Spider-Man Homecoming posters if you zoomed all the way in to see the suggested hashtag, hype posters being far too cool for titles in this day and age. I suppose you could probably also figure it out from the fact that they prominently feature Spider-Man, who is obviously in New York, which is his home. No sign of coming, per se, but give him 10 minutes in a centerfold and he'll see what he can do. Wink, wink. Can I just say, first of all, that I'm really gratified that Spider-Man doesn't have a prominent nose. I remember when I noticed the nose in the poster for the original 2002 Spider-Man movie. It became the only thing I could see. It was like a bubble in wallpaper, just really threw off the whole effect. I suppose it's one of those things you don't consider before you start trying to translate comic book costumes to real life. Like which thigh you're supposed to tape your dick to before you put on the skin-tight leggings. But while we've got the 2002 poster up, look at how dynamic it is with the skewed angle and sharp perspective, highlighting the peril and excitement of driving through New York rush hour traffic. Compare that to what we've got here, which is precisely the same situation, but by merely looking at it from a flat side-on angle and brightening up all the colours and lighting to the level of a television soap opera, suddenly all sense of drama is removed, and he looks more like he's modelling Spider-Man costumes for a Sky Mall catalogue. It's not exactly a heroic pose he's putting on either, the way his bottom's sticking out and he's looking over his shoulder with one hand dangling uncertainly, as if he's going, "Whoops! Something just fell out of my bum! Hope no one was standing below me!" Actually, from this angle, it kind of looks like he's only just noticed the Empire State Building and is thinking, hey, if I wanted to prevent future accidents involving things falling out of my bum, maybe I could plug up my bum with something like... No, this is going in an uncouth direction. Let's dial things back a notch. Obviously, Spider-Man is making this reaction because his car keys have fallen out of his back pocket. Oh, bugger! And I can't ride public transport, because that might give visitors to New York City the mistaken impression that the public transport is always full of weirdos. All of which goes towards explaining the second poster, in which Spider-Man appears to have elected to hitchhike home. And this was taking so long that he got frustrated and positioned himself where he's most likely to get noticed. Sorry, people wanting to know if they're approaching the Bronx-Queens exit. Looks like Spider-Man's problems are more important. He's got to get home, goddammit, and launder these tights before they start going all crunchy round the balls. Well, since I've mentioned it, let's take a proper look at Spider-Man's romper suit. You can see they've gone for a look somewhat faithful to the classic retro look, but some differences come up on the fine details. The blue part is covered in faint lines, like he forgot to erase the perspective lines from the concept art before he gave it to the dressmaker. And he's glued some rolls of quarters to his belt in case he feels like stopping by the arcade on his way home. There are also black straps going up his arm like he's doing an impression of a children's rucksack. They appear to be serving to secure his web-shooting wristlets to his torso, which makes a lot of practical sense. Those web shooters need to take a lot of strain, remember, and if they weren't properly secured, then suddenly putting all your body weight onto them while falling at terminal velocity would be a good way to lose, at best, a wristlet, at worst, a wrist. Damn, this is all getting a bit dry and technical, isn't it? Hey, look at that funny cloud hanging over Spider-Man's head. Is it supposed to be a halo? Or is Mario going to come along later to use it as a platform? One last question worth raising about this image is, what other than Spider-Man is casting a shadow upon the road sign? It's either a giant star-nosed mole with their lower jaw missing, or the wing of some kind of enormous bird. In which case, it makes sense that Spider-Man is jerking his thumb towards it. Hey, buddy! Don't suppose you could drop me off at the New Jersey Turnpike? But 'twas all to no avail, as we see in the third and final poster that Spider-Man has officially given up and draped himself despairingly across the top of a nuclear submarine as it prepares to descend into the Hudson River. The air can grow chilly in New York as evening draws on, but thankfully he's now got a jacket, presumably donated from a kindly passing holiday camp entertainer. And he's listening to a bit of Avenged Sevenfold with headphones, through his mask, which is one way to filter the pops and clicks, I suppose. But it's a shame that Spider-Man has chosen this particular moment to flop down and wash his hands of events, because you'll note that the entire city is tilting at about a 20-degree angle, presumably as a result of subterranean cataclysm. But don't you worry your little head about it, Spider-Man. You keep listening to Beast and the Harlot. There's probably some ground-themed superhero around here that could sort it out. I hear there's a giant star-nosed mole looking for work.